Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are joining us from around the world. This is the SEUN AKINLOTAN show. This is where we spark meaningful conversations on a range of topics from leadership, career, business, family, and even politics. Welcome, everyone. If you're here and you've not shared this video yet, please go ahead and share. I'd also like to give you a shout out. So please let me know your name and location. Leave your name and location in the comment box and let's get the party started. All right, so I see a few people already. Oluwatosin Arojuju is here. Thank you for joining us today. Karen McDaniel, thank you for joining us today. Olayemi Akinlotan, thank you for joining us today. All right, so if you have not shared this video, go ahead and share with people. We're going to get started. I'm going to read the profile of our guest, and then once I do that, I'll bring him in. Thank you for joining once again. Our topic for today is going to be the audacity to rise, and our guest is none other than Mr. Omoyele SOWORE. I'm going to introduce him now, and then we're going to get started. Omoyele SOWORE was born on February 16, 1971. So that means that he turned 50 back in February. Congratulations, sir. He's a Nigerian human rights activist, pro-democracy campaigner, former presidential candidate, and also the founder of the popular online news agency Sahara Reporters. SOWORE graduated from the University of Lagos with a bachelor's degree in geography and planning. In addition to that, he also holds a master's degree in public administration and at Columbia University in New York, United States of America. He is the founder of Sahara Reporters, like I said earlier, and he founded Sahara Reporters in 2006. On February 25, 2018, he announced his intention to run for the highest office in Nigeria. And that same year, August, I believe, he also founded a political party named African Action Congress. SOWORE is currently on bail and also standing trial for alleged conspiracy to commit treason and also for insulting the president. All right, so please join me in welcoming our guest for today, Mr. Omoyele SOWORE. Good evening, sir. Can you hear me?
Thank you.
Hello?
I can hear you loud and clear. I hope you can hear me as well. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on board. Thank you very much. Dr. John Deng Vivian Siru, thank you. Oh, I see WMTV. Okay, thank you for, I think that's Dr. Chidi. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you have not shared this video, please go ahead and share. So, Mr. Omoyele SOWORE, how are you doing today?
I'm good. It's Sunday. I'm out. I'm reaching you right from Abuja.
From Abuja, Nigeria. And
yes,
how's your weather over there?
It's pretty mild today because it rained earlier. So, but I'm not a weatherman. I'm just telling you what I know from my side of town.
Okay, no problem. That's good. We thank God for the rain. So please, could you please introduce yourself to our audience? I know that I just read your profile, but maybe there are some things I missed out that you would like to highlight on your profile.
I don't think you missed anything out. You've pretty much spoken to my age, my career, and what's probably interests most of your audience today about my life in the last few years. So I don't think anything is left out. I think we can just let the rubber hit the road.
Okay, that's good. So before I start asking the questions, there's a video that I would like to play real quick, and then we're going to dive right in. Thank you.
And the center of the student opposition to the government. In the following years, SOWORE led dozens of demonstrations in support of democracy, like this one at the National University Games in 1998. What started with chanting outside the gates ended up with the entire student body rallying on the field against the military leadership. At the center of it all was OMOYELE SOWORE. This was not the kind of message the military welcomed. As the crowds dispersed, SOWORE was arrested and imprisoned for 2 weeks.
All right, so you remember that video, right? I'm sure you remember that day. I've watched a lot of videos, and this is one of the videos that I seem not to be able to get over it. Like, what gave you the confidence to stand in front of guns and just holding the mic, you know, opposing the government and speaking your mind? That is some sort of audacity that is very rare in this generation. So what gave you that confidence to do that?
You know, I was a student union activist for so many years under military rule. And in 1998, there was the National University Games, and there were a bunch of students who were expelled for political reasons. So we decided to make a showing at National University and what is known as NUGA at the University of Lagos, which happened to be my alma mater. And when we arrived there, they thought it was a joke. And then we overran the entire game at the stadium and insisted that they must make a pronouncement on the fate of students who were expelled from various universities across the country for political reasons. That's what you saw. When we arrived, they initially allowed us, and then the part that wasn't captured was when they started opening fire on students.
Was anyone killed?
Nobody was killed because they were shooting into the air. They were also really afraid that if they kill somebody, they probably won't make it out alive. So I think it was a balance of terror that saved the students on that day because it was an enclosure. And the person who was represented that day was I think it was Rear Admiral Hibe, now late. And he was really scared. There was a part that wasn't captured when he came and grabbed the microphone from me. And
Oh, wow.
yes, and we had quite an encounter because he was a very feisty, or very angry person. And he just couldn't believe it because he had told me earlier when the thing started, he sent somebody to give me his card. He said, just come to Abuja, let's take care of this business. And we said, no, you have to make a pronouncement here. And that didn't go down well with him. And but you saw it. A lot of students, but there were injuries, but luckily nobody died.
Wow. All right, thank you for sharing that. So let's move on to your platform, Sahara Reporters. This is a platform that you started in 2006 in New York, I believe. And there have been some accusations concerning that platform, that it's a platform you use to settle scores and publish unfounded stories. What will you say to that?
What I would have said to you is, why don't you should have done your own homework. What's the unfounded stories about reporting corruption or reporting on malfeasance of politically connected, or what they call politically exposed persons. Sahara Reporters has written over 6,000 stories beyond. I think I was involved in about 5,000 of those stories, breaking stories, groundbreaking investigative reports. And till today, nobody could fault any of the stories. In
So you are
fact,
saying that since 2006 that you started Sahara Reporters, nobody has been able to fault any of the story that you put on your platform?
yes, I'm giving you public information that you can check on. They've sued us several times. No one has won a dime against us, even when the judges are most likely on their side. And I'm not saying nothing will happen in the future as we continue to shrink the democratic space in the country. Or, you're dealing with very powerful people. These stories cover a wide range of powerful people or politically connected persons, rich people. Some of them are judges. Some of them are presidents of a country. Their children. Some of them are very powerful pastors or what they call, geos, which is uh, general overseers, and all of them. Even the Jews don't wait when Sahara reporters write about it. They don't wait for God to resolve the problem. They go to courts, challengers, and they haven't been able to prove that we've been wrong. It's been 14, I think about 15 years now. So we're written all these stories, and the stories have led to situations that have been very, very remarkable. I don't know how many of them to tell you about, but a lot of stories, and Sarah continues to do that. It's understandable that when you are an uncompromising platform like Sahara, people throw all kinds of shit at you. Oh, blackmail, but, they know it's not blackmail. What they call blackmail is when you write a story, they reach out to you to take it down, you don't take it down. You stand by your story. For them, it's blackmail. It's just their own natural way of reacting to how Sahara has conducted its businesses over the last 15 years.
Wow. So you've written 6,000 stories and none has been proven in court to be untrue. I received a question today and I would like you to answer that question. So someone is asking, her name is Nofisat. She's asking, why does SOWORE majorly focus on the bad news that comes out of Nigeria and never celebrates good news? This is Nofisat's question. Is it because bad news sell, or is he an advocate of bitter politics? According to Nafisat, because as it seems, we are having a massive onslaught against the bandits, and their crimes are witnessing a downward turn based on the question Nafisat sent to me. So she's asking, are you observing this trend too? And she's majorly focusing on why you focus on bad news that comes out of Nigeria and never celebrate good news. What do you say to
I,
that?
I think there are a bunch of platforms in Nigeria. And even if Sahara is not focusing on good news, I think you can look for it on NTA, which is a government agency. But I don't know of any good news that has come out that we haven't reported. We report both good and bad news. There have been times that even major officials of the country, officials of the country will say, "Oh, Sahara wrote this and it's true." I remember President Goodluck Jonathan saying one day on national TV that Sahara reporters reported that his brother had died in Aso Rock Villa clinic. He wasn't aware of it. I'm not saying that's good news. I'm just saying how people are set up. You have platforms that are set to tell the truth, and you have very limited good news. That's the truth. Tell me which good news is in Nigeria. So that person was saying bandits uh,
Yeah,
have
she
been.
said that there's currently a massive onslaught against the bandits and their crimes are witnessing a downward turn.
I think that kind of story exists in the mind of a person. I want good news too, but if you have bandits that are holding 17 university students and you're saying that you have defeated, you know what I mean. It's just a complete fabrication. So it's people can say whatever they want. You set up a platform to tell the truth, and when they keep telling the truth, it hurts some people and make some people feel good about what's going on in the country. But like I said, it's a very competitive platform and environment.
Please.
Even if Sahara doesn't want to tell the truth about bandits, KBNTA can tell it, and other government related platforms can tell. Radio Nigeria is there. They can tell it. But what Sahara will not do is to tell you that bandits have been defeated when bandits are waxing strong, as we have for Boko Haram as well, claiming territory. So many people don't like that. They just want you to lie when the truth is staring you in the face.
Wow. All right. So, Mr. Sowore, you've been arrested multiple times by the Nigerian authorities. Why do you still care so much about Nigeria when you actually have an opportunity to sit back in the US and just enjoy your life?
I think I've done 20 years of my time in the US, 20 years. And maybe it's fair to say I enjoyed life. But what is life if it has no purpose? You know? So you sit in the US, your country is falling apart. People are getting killed and dying of hunger, starvation, of banditry, of kidnapping, and terrorism. And out of selfishness, they just want to be going to movies every day. You know, I'm not that kind of a person. So it's part of the reason why I never change my citizenship, so that I can have that connection with something that's meaningful. There are 200 million people in Nigeria, 200 million people. The US, where you can sit back and enjoy yourself, has got 320 million people. So Nigeria has more than half of US population. But when there are school shootings in the US, they want all of us to be worried about it. When there's terrorism in France, they ask you to check in if you're safe. But when terrorists and bandits and kidnappers take over Nigeria, people say, "Oh, why don't you just forget Nigeria and go enjoy your life?" Where's the humanity?
Wow. So I heard you say something that you said you still have your Nigerian citizenship, like you are not a US citizen, because this
No,
is
I'm
a
not.
contention among many quarters, and someone is actually asking in the comment box, someone is saying that I should ask you about your dual citizenship. Do you have
I'm not.
dual
I don't
citizenship?
have dual citizenship. I have. I'm a Nigerian. I never changed
You
my
are
citizenship.
confirming that you don't have a US passport.
I don't. I only have one passport. The very disgraceful green passports. But I don't have any regrets about it. It was my personal choice not to change my citizenship. So I'm a Nigerian, and the passport has been seized by the Nigerian government. If I was a US citizen, they probably wouldn't have held me in detention for more than 3 days because the US will come hard on them.
Advocate for you.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I love it that way. It's my way of accepting the reality of my life, of being born here, growing up here, and you know, getting used to being in Nigeria.
Wow. Oh, okay. Some of your critics say that you do not adhere to the Nigerian tradition of respect and honor. You know what they mean by that? A typical Nigerian values respect and honor, and you seem to come off as someone that maybe don't respect authorities. And for that reason, a lot of people are skeptical about electing you as a leader. How would you respond to that?
Nobody remain authority. People wanted to prostrate for a king who's a criminal, or they want you to respect a president that doesn't do his job. I don't believe in those things. I
Maybe
believe
they are
that
expecting you to respect the office, not the person.
you know, there's no office if the person is a crook. You understand? Respect is reciprocal. Uh, I've used Yoruba saying, said, "Ọmọdé gbọ́n àgbà gbọ́n la fi dá ilé Ifẹ̀." That
That's true.
it's a Yoruba way of expressing that nobody's, beyond and above anyone. That you could be a kid, you could be an adult. It is the combination of how you conduct yourself, character, which Yoruba
Yeah.
people refer to as Omoluabi, that
Yes.
determines who is respected and so I won't go out there to respect someone who I know doesn't deserve it. I know who deserves respect and who don't. Most of Nigerian leaders don't. So when I go out there, it's not arrogance, it's just conviction.
So do you consider yourself a respectful person if the person deserves to be respected?
No, also, I hang out with, people who you would not even believe I could hang out with because I respect them. But my problem is respecting those who don't deserve it. And a lot of Nigerian leaders don't deserve respect.
So
There are people who lock
do
up in
you
a
consider yourself a Yoruba man?
huh?
Do you consider yourself a Yoruba man?
No, I consider myself a human being. If being a Yoruba man means that I enslave myself to culture and tradition, then I'm done. That's not useful to me. That would degrade me as a person. Because Yoruba culture, I mean, people don't even understand Yoruba culture. You know, there are times that the Yoruba culture has inbuilt respectable ways of dealing with character of even leaders. That's why they banish kings who don't deserve respect. These days, we don't banish kings. They want you to, if a king is a crook, they still want you to go to the palace and prostrate for the person. But you know, there's a lot of cultural beliefs that don't fit into our modern lives. We jettison it. You know, I don't, I don't understand why people are stuck with those kind of things. But you know, it will take time for people to understand. But I'm not a slave, and Yoruba culture used to respect slavery as well. You know, so they'll say, "One should be a runo, be a more." Why would anybody be a slave to another person? I don't believe that.
Awesome. Thank you for that response. Someone is asking in the comments, she says, Olawumi Lesomi says, do you have any regrets about not taking the US citizenship?
No, not at all. I was qualified to be a U.S. citizen after 4 or 5 years in the U.S. I never even went. I never even applied. It was a conscious decision not to, not to lose my identity, my national identity. Because if you go and accept U.S. citizenship, you have to actually swear an allegiance to the U.S. and abandon your allegiance to your own country. But that doesn't mean that I have any problem with people who are accepted or who are U.S. citizens who have abandoned U.S. citizenship. And for those who say that maybe it's because I want to contest, the law in Nigeria actually allows you now
Yes.
to be a dual citizen and still contest for whatever position. I just don't. I just feel like there's something that will be taken away from me if I abandon my citizenship of my home country, Nigeria.
Okay. Speaking about elections, you were actually one of the contestants of the 2019 general election. What makes you feel that you're qualified to become Nigerian president when you have not been tested and trusted?
Who was tested? It's the people who you tested who have been president before. Look at where they left you. This
Well, some people
incompetent.
say that maybe you should start from the local government or
No, you should have asked people like Buhari to start for the local government because some of them can't even manage WhatsApp groups. You see, countries around the world who want to make progress look for people who are competent. They don't ask them where they start from. They ask them what they have upstairs. And that was what was the driving force. I knew I could have changed if I was president of Nigeria since 2019.
19.
We won't be talking about banditry now, and I'm not bragging. We won't be talking about so much poverty. We won't be talking about kidnapping because I had laid out a solution for all this problem during the campaign and manifesto.
So are you
And
saying that you have a magical wand? Because people
it's
say
not
that
a magical
yeah,
one. This is the problem. This is the problem with Nigeria. There's nothing magical about it. There's nothing difficult about doing a few or certain things. There's nothing magical about paying salaries. There's nothing magical about stopping corruption when there are modern tools that you can use to
like
even
what?
prevent.
Can you give us examples of those modern tools?
Yeah, I for instance have used technology to wipe out everybody with the ghost worker, so that yes,
The ghost
now
workers will fight you back, oh
they can fight back all they want, but what I'll do is make sure that you don't get paid if you don't work. If you're not in the civil service, because
yes.
it's just a matter of saying when you come to work, you swipe your ID cards and it recognizes you and your money is paid to you. It's as simple as that. You know,
And how
uh,
much money do you think Nigeria is wasting on ghost workers?
I can't even tell you, but I know that there are over 200,000 policemen who are ghost workers. They
Over
said it up.
200,000.
Yes,
Where
they
are you
said it
getting
up.
your data from?
Well, this is how you can Google it. The
Wow.
federal civil service in Nigeria is not more than It's not more than 500,000, but they are paying over 1.7 million people because the finance directors of various agencies had membership of these agencies, and they divide the money into their own pocket. So yes, these are things that are well known. So I'm just using that as an example. What about the contractual system or the contracting system, where you can do it openly and transparently, and the contractor that is uh, qualified will be somebody who they'll have a delivery date. Why would it take the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to be constructed for 20 years? 20 years, when you can do it in 13 months. So, and then you start complaining why people die on the streets. Why will it take, you to consider payment of workers minimum wage at minimum of $100,000? And you say, no, it's not possible.
$100,000 or naira?
Naira, sorry. You know how it is coming from the
For
US.
100,000 naira, how do you want the government to afford that? Because they've been saying that they can't afford that.
It's a lie, because people who are opposed to 100,000 naira are themselves earning minimum wage. I've spoken about senators. Senators of Nigeria are earning 14 million naira a month. 14 million naira. Do you know
14
what?
million naira.
Yeah. Public information. There's nothing to argue about it. This is the truth. But it takes an average Nigerian worker who is earning 30,000 naira a month, 38 years to earn the monthly salary of the senator. And the
38
senators,
years.
38 years. You just break down 40 million naira divided by 38 years. It gives you 30,000 naira a month. So, but they are the ones who don't want to pay minimum wage. Even 100,000 naira is not enough to support any family. An average family in Nigeria of 2 or 3 persons or 4 maximum needs 250,000 naira to be
An
able to
average
support.
family.
An average, yes, because if just take food for instance, even if you are eating 1,000 naira a day for food, that's 30,000 naira already per month.
Yes.
What about transportation? What if you have to buy drugs? What if you have to send your children to school? How do you survive those things? These are practical realities. Now you look at Africa, other African countries, South Africa, even Gabon, their minimum wage is yes, it's even more than that. But the
So the
so-called
minimum
giant of
wage
Africa,
in Gabon is much more than the minimum wage in Nigeria. Is that what you're saying?
Nigeria has one of the lowest, criminally lowest minimum wage on the continent of Africa. Do your research. I don't even think Liberia has that minimum wage that we pay here. So, and apart from that, they don't even pay. The governors don't pay minimum wage to their workers. They don't pay. Even at 30,000 naira, they don't pay. The federal government just announced last week, 2 weeks ago, that they're not sure if they can pay 30,000 naira to workers. But I live in Abuja, which I call the federal capital of thieves. Come and see mansions. A whole estate will be owned by a permanent secretary. What do you think is getting the money from? Oh yeah, this is not hidden. Anybody who lives around here will tell you the story. So it's just like this country is a crime scene, and it's like the people who run the country commit crimes against humanity, and they get away with it because they can pay peanuts, what they call data, to people to go online to defend their criminality, which is a shame. But one day everybody would somehow have to pay for their own crimes too, if not now or later.
All right. So Olawumile Somi has a question for you. She's saying that she doesn't think the figures are correct, and she's asking what level qualifies for 100K. I believe you're talking about minimum wage.
It's
So
minimum wage.
asking, is that for graduates or what qualification
No. The people that are paid 30,000 naira now
currently?
you should be receiving 100,000 minimum wage. Yes, that's the position.
And you say that you can afford to pay that because the government is saying there's no money. I recently read a report about NMPC not being able to, contribute to to the national treasury?
Because the NNPC guys are stealing all the money that comes into that should come into the treasury of Nigeria. You need to see what an average director in NNPC makes or how much. There are workers and contractors and the thieves siphoning off. The NNPC domesticates 455,000 barrels of oil every day. That's supposed to be what we produce locally. They sell it because no refineries are working. They have four refineries. None of them are working. And they don't want the
Why is
refineries.
that? Why are the refineries not working?
Because you want them to work. If it works, where would it make all their free money from? I'm telling you, the
So
people who
does
are
it
living
make sense
are the
to
enemies of Nigeria.
so it makes sense to have crude oil in Nigeria and then we export it to another country and then we import the gasoline back?
Yes, we only import gasoline and diesel.
How does that make sense? I still don't understand how that concept works.
You should be asking. You should not be asking me. Ask the people who are running Nigeria. Why Nigeria is the only country in the world that exports crude oil and brings back just a fraction of it, gasoline and diesel and kerosene, and they're even scarce. But when you carry out a distillation of crude, there are over 30 products that you get. We export only three. I don't know of any country in the world, the sixth largest producer of crude, that exports anything. We have four refineries, I told you, four refineries. None of them is working, none. And not only are they not working, they invest annually billions of naira maintaining refineries that don't work. So what else can I tell you? And then they come around and tell you that they have they have zero contribution to make to the national account because they are allowed to steal as much as they want. I've told you in Lagos and Abuja, several places. NNPC officials own estates. Some of them own private jets. They just do what they like, and then they turn around and tell you, "Oh, there's no money." And that's why they don't allow people who have an idea how to run the country. That's why they send their own people. Sometimes not everybody that sent. Some of them are brainwashed to say people who are competent should go and be local government chairman, and people who are incompetent should be president of Nigeria. It's like we're
Well,
cursed.
we're talking about experience because people say
What
you
is
don't
it?
have experience.
What experience does Buhari have other than?
He was once the military president of Nigeria, so
where has
counts.
that taken you? We have had two former military presidents run Nigeria. Where has that taken you? Countries that want to make progress don't ask those kind of stupid questions of their citizens. They look for people who are competent and they say, take advantage, take over leadership. And they get things done in their 40s.
So how
When Buhari first led Nigeria, he was 42 years old as military leader, 42 years old. You understand? He came back at the age of 70 something. What has he done for you? There must be something wrong with some of our citizens when they ask some of these questions.
But people say that you were one of the ones that advocated for Buhari.
No, let's finish one thing before you go to the other. The only experience people like Buhari have is experience in failure. The only experience people like Obasanjo have is experience in stealing, assassination, corruption. Tell me which Nigerian leader has gotten any experience that took you from zone A to zone B or that took you forward? None. And I've experienced 7 presidents in this country, including the one that was dead for 5 months and they kept him as president. So
how do you know that?
Because it was fact. Yaradua was dead.
That's against their tradition. I mean, like their religion. You can't keep someone for 5 months.
You want to listen to me or you want to listen to tradition?
I'm just saying.
Yaradua was brain dead for 5 months. They kept him in power in this country. Buhari has dementia. The guy doesn't remember anything. We are keeping him in power and defending his failure and his inability to coordinate even himself. I don't even know if the guy can wear himself his own trousers. But that's Nigeria for you, which is do what is wrong and defend it.
But
And
this looks
people who can do what is right, you ask them to go to local government. There was something wrong with us.
okay. All right, so let's move on to there was an initiative that was put out back in 2018, I believe, and it was named Pact, Presidential Aspirants Coming Together. And a lot of youth felt like it was a great opportunity for like young aspirants to come together. So it does seem like you resisted the idea. So I just wanted you to enlighten our audience why you resisted the idea of forming an alliance. Was it because you were scared, or what's the real deal here?
Why would I be scared? The alliance was a fake alliance. What happened was that we went to a meeting one day, and they said we want to choose a youth, a youthful, because we're not young people anymore. By United Nations definition of youth, if you are above 45, you're not a youth. So we're youthful. So they want a younger person. And we went there. And as it is customary around Nigeria, one candidate brought 10 supporters and claimed they're presidential candidates. So when we looked at it and said, this is a scam, so why don't we all go back to our political parties and win the primaries? When we finish the primaries, right, we'll come back to that platform, and so there will be smaller number of persons because they would have legitimately won the primary. I said no, they're not interested. So I left on that day. I never went back to them. When we met at Charlie Boy's house, they still resisted, and I never went back to it. They still went ahead and did an election. The person who was the umpire of the election, Obieze Ekwesili, declared Peladro Toye as the winner of the election. Kingsley, who lost to Fela, said he's not participating. He rejected it. And but in an attempt to make it look legitimate, they kept adding my name to it.
Yeah,
I said,
your
well,
name was there, so we
no,
thought that you
I
were
didn't
elected.
participate in your one day, but just so that you clarify your position. Obviously, Kwesili, after declaring the winner of the election, still went on and contested as the presidential candidate in that election. So, what did he tell you that she didn't even believe in what she pretended of, over? But I never participated in it,
So
and
you
it
are saying
was
that you were not part of Pact because people spotted you
as
at one of their meetings where you were taking pictures.
only one meeting. I went to the
Well,
president.
those pictures went viral.
You can go viral, but I'm just saying I never participated in the election that produced the final candidate. I only went once, and it was because I saw fraud involved in it that I left. I don't believe in partaking in fraud, and these guys were engaging in fraud, and because one person brought 10 candidates, and I saw it. I saw when they were registering. I was like, "Are you a presidential aspirant?" To say yes, but I've never heard your name before. Turns out that most of the presidential aspirants that were in this meeting were Feladro Toye's people. So, and Kingsley was lured into it because he was desperate, to become a presidential candidate of youth. But because me, I have rubbish detector. And when I saw it, I just left that there, never went back. I went back campaigning after that. So I'm just giving you the breakdown of it so that I know, so that you can understand. So the person to ask is obvious Ekwesili was umpire. Ask Kingsley, who lost to Feladro to why he didn't honor the agreement to step down for Fela. Not me, because I never participated in that.
Absolutely. I would love an opportunity to interview every one of them, but let's move on for now. So let's talk about Revolution Now.
Yeah.
Some people say that it's because you don't want to accept defeat, while some are saying that you are all about disturbing public peace. What exactly is Revolution Now? How do you want people to follow you when you don't seem like you want to wait to win through the ballot? So, what's your position on that?
I'm sure I'm glad you said win through the ballots. What do you do when there's no ballots? That's the question I throw back to you. In
What do I
2000,
do when there's no ballot? Obviously, Nigeria is a democratic country, so there will
not
always
the
be
thing.
ballot.
Why are you lying to yourself? Nigeria is not, we don't practice democracy. The 2019 election did not happen. They just arranged between them and the Independent National Electoral Commission, allocated votes to the party that they favored, and also allocated votes to the rest of us who partook in like there was no election. If anybody told you there was an election in 2019, tell the person to go examine their head. And when that election was over, we immediately started advocating for a country that could work for everybody. And I believe, and most people now understand that a only revolution could take us to that next level, not their own fraudulent next level that Buhari came to. And they were desperate by not allowing free and fair elections to happen. Even international observers, some of them could not certify the 2019 election. They had to remove a judge who was Chief Justice of Nigeria so that they could have their way in the court. All these things happened before our very eyes, including your eyes. So why are we here deceiving ourselves that, I lost the election? I didn't lose any election because there was no election. There was none.
So, what do you say to those who say that you're disturbing public peace?
You know, Mandela was accused of disturbing public peace too under apartheid. So people who want justice have been accused of one infraction or the other. It's understandable. But if I disturb public peace, when I was taken to court, why didn't they charge me for disturbing public peace? They didn't. They charged me for treason. And till today, they have only presented one uh, witness in 2 years
One
because
witness in 2 years?
yes, this is public information. They couldn't provide any evidence that I tried to overthrow the government. What I did is to use my constitutional rights to oppose fraud, to oppose inefficiency, ineffectiveness, and incompetence in government, and ask people to reject it as well. And they were very afraid to the point that even before the protest I called for took place, they had arrested me. And when they charged me in court, they forgot. Even when they were reading the charges to me, they were saying you participated in the protest, whereas I'd been arrested before the protest. Because this is the most incompetent government probably that this country has ever had. They don't even know what they're doing. They want the only currency that they have is to spread fear. They want everybody to be afraid of them. Anybody who is not afraid, they try to blackball you into believing that it's a legitimate government. I reject the government because it was not a legitimate government. If you call our righteous decision to oppose fraud disturbance of public peace, take us to court for disturbance of public peace. I've been arrested twice. I've been arrested after I was released from detention. I was arrested in January. They charged me for disturbance of public peace. They can't provide any evidence for that either. They just say, oh, you are carrying placards and shouting, but Buhari wants to go. And I said, yes. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's my constitutional right to reject a fraudulent government, a fraudulent process that you call election. It's my right.
All right. Let's move to the next question. You keep pointing fingers to Nigerian leaders, but some people say that maybe you're not any different from the leaders you currently criticize. So I'm asking you now, how are you different from our current leaders, and what values do you bring to the table?
I bring values of integrity, of honesty, and of conviction, of respect for rights of everybody. I know it's a tricky question that you're trying to ask, but that's fine by me.
I don't
So,
have any tricks.
because it's non-specific, but I'm different from them because I've done what I do now for 30 good years, right?
30
And
years.
yes, and for my 30 years of doing this, they have not found a single infraction against me. When I was arrested in 2019, they claimed that I insulted Buhari. I admit that I did, because Buhari doesn't even deserve to be respected. but they had to remove the offense from. It's one of the charges that they dropped. They accused me of going to Dubai to collect money to overthrow the government. They said $100 million. When we got to court, when they were interrogating me, they found out I've never been to Dubai before. So you see the difference between me and them, right? The government that lies with compunction and the person that confronts them with truth. We're different. We don't have anything in common, and it will be unjust and unfair to say that I am not different from them. I don't know what that means.
All right. Thank you for answering that question. The next question. So some people have said that your activism is about disturbing public peace, and you just talked about integrity right now. But there was a story about collecting grants and awards that broke out recently. It was said that maybe the reason you are an activist is about collecting grants and awards. So how would you respond to that?
First is to say that when you say that, all your questions are based on what people said. Next time when you're interviewing somebody, do your own research so that you
Yes,
can be rooted on facts and
we
not
have to
hearsay.
satisfy the questions that people
Well,
are
because
sending.
you're not mention anybody, but let me go to. I understand what you're trying to say or what you're trying to do. There was no grant. I never collected grants on behalf of anybody. This is what it is. People stand out there, they lie against. It's not the first time people lie against me. When I was in the university and I was fighting courts, campus gangs at the University of Lagos, the school authorities cooked up a story that I was a gang member. And when they looked out and checked each of the court groups and found out I was never a member of any of the subsisting groups, they formed a court group called Authority Confraternity and put me in the middle as a capone, just so that they can make people believe that I was, and they expelled me after that as part of the punishment for standing up against the system. You remember during the election, there was this woman who came out and lied against me that I collected videos from her and went to Lagos State government officials and sold the videos to her. It had to do with children who were being raped, and some people believed it. When I
Yeah, a lot of
replied,
people believe a lot of
yeah,
things, so that's
yeah.
why we are
So,
asking.
but I cannot prevent people from believing stuff. I can only tell you what is true and what is not true. And then to get to the point about grants driving activism, and like what was the grants driving my activism when I was in University of Lagos? None, right? when
So you did not collect any grant on behalf of anyone.
No, of course, if it happened, you see, that's why I said do your research. When there's no foundation that give grants to a third party, there are three processes for getting a grant. You apply for it, they approve of it, and they pay to the whomever. They're not going to pay a grant to the person who didn't apply for it. You use the name of someone. As in this case, somebody said, "Oh, her name was used for a grant, right?" And then the person who applied for the grant still puts your number and the name in it, and they call you and say, "Oh, you applied for a grant." If the person wants to avoid you knowing about it, why would they put your name number there? But what I've said practically is that I have a platform that's huge. More people will listen to me, and I don't want to go into that mode where I use my own popularity to oppress people who make this sort of allegations. So my issue is not with this, maybe out of ignorance, but maybe there's a grant, maybe people cook up all kinds of stuff. But there's none. I'm just saying, I'm reiterating once again that there's no such thing that happened. I
Okay.
can't for a grant on behalf of anybody. It's just not in my character. I feel.
Thank you for answering that. Olawumi Ilesomi is asking some questions. I think that she wants to know where you've worked, the schools you've gone to. Where did you grow up? Olawumi Ilesomi, I would say that Google is a very good place to start. Yes. So Google is a very good place to start about that. And we can also come to that if we have more time. So this next question, there has been a lot of agitation by secessionists Where do you stand on that matter? I also see that some people are already asking about it in the comment section.
See, I don't begrudge people who want to leave Nigeria. I have been quoted as saying that a lot of Nigerians have mentally succeeded from Nigeria because they're tired of this hopeless situation that they found themselves. But what is important, which is personal to me, is to say that secession is such an overrated topic that people believing that because you wake up and succeed from Nigeria, your problems are over. I'm sorry for you. It's not. It's just one of the solutions that may appeal to people. It doesn't appeal to me because I'm a Pan-Africanist. I want the whole of Africa to become one nation.
The whole
You
of
know,
Africa to become one nation?
we have no boundaries. That I don't have to go to Ghana or South Africa looking for a visa. But that's what the Europeans did. The European Union has been turned into one country. And even the UK that was shouting Brexit, Brexit, will not be able to recover for a long time. Because when you're united, you benefit from more from unity. But you also can't question people who say, look, the Nigerian situation has become like a bad marriage. So they want out of the marriage because it's abusive, you know. But it's just saying to them, look, the problem is not the boundaries. The problem is leadership of Nigeria. If you get it right with leadership, you will probably not worry about where you're from because it's leadership and justice. You just don't have competent leaders. So if you break the problem of incompetence of leadership into two or four, everybody will still inherit their own version of incompetent leadership. And you're already seeing some signs from people who are asking for secession. The same people they prefer as their leader in their own broken down or broken up country. The same people who are responsible for Nigeria problems. So I don't just subscribe to secession as a one size fits all solution to Nigeria's problem. But do I begrudge people who are asking for such advance? I just don't have it as a preference for my way forward for this entity called Nigeria. And I know it's unpopular, but that's my position.
Wow. So when you're talking about way forward, what solutions do you have that you are bringing to the table? What are the top 5 things you think you can do differently?
I'm not doing 5 things. I'm asking for one thing first.
One thing,
Revolution.
okay?
That's a revolution. We need a revolution in Nigeria. We need to clean up the against table. And then afterwards, we'll take care of business. So we need a brand new constitution. We need brand new leaders uh, who will be confronted with consequences when they misbehave. Uh, and that's why revolutions are powerful. There's no country that's had a revolution before in the world that went back doing business the way they used to do it before the revolution. In Nigeria, people just do what they like. You can steal you can steal the state budget, and the next week somebody is giving a chieftaincy title instead of opening the door to a prison. Instead of opening, sending you to jail. So as long as we have that, where there are no consequences, the judiciary is in the pocket of the same people around the country. The legislative arm is just a toothless bulldog or rubber stamp, as people call it. How can you how can you run a country like that and expect better or different results? It's not possible.
Wow. All right. So you recently showed up in court for the 10th time as regards your ongoing trial. How does that make you feel? And what do you think is the way forward?
I go to court because, you know, they ask me to come to court. So I don't know the way forward for them. But I've said it before and I'll reiterate it that I'm not the one on trial. It's Nigerian government that's on trial. I'm just a witness to this trial.
What do you mean by that?
I told you for 2 years they haven't been able to present more than one witness
For two
because
years.
yes, because I'm not the one on trial. I'm just witnessing the trial for history. They are the ones on trial. They've done everything they can, kept me in jail for 5 months. When I was released, they came and kidnapped me in front of a judge. No, it has never happened before that security agents will enter a courtroom and kidnap someone who is undergoing trial, and the judge fled. So, what else can I ask for? What else can I tell you? They're the ones on trial.
All right. So let's look ahead. What do you think would happen in 2023? Do you think that you'll be able to throw your hat in the ring?
I don't even know if Nigeria will survive to 2023, and I'm being honest. I don't know. If we keep going like this, we are going at a at a breakneck speed towards perdition. If we keep going like this, there won't be 2023. That's why I keep asking people not to be myopic by thinking that there will be a 2023. Fight for today. Save yourselves. Liberate yourselves so that you can look forward to a future that is desirable. 2023 is another date in their calendar of confusion and deception. So I don't know if there will be 2023. I don't want to see people about it. But if we do what is right, then we can save the date.
Wow. Thank you very much for your answers so far. If you have any questions, please drop your question in the comment box. I'll read your question. I have about three more questions to go, and then we're going to call it a day. So, Mr. Sowore, in your 50 years on Earth, when was one time you felt defeated, and how did you overcome that?
I'll tell you, and this is not philosophical, but true. I feel defeated every day being in Nigeria. You know, uh, it's just the truth. Being a Nigerian, I traveled some 20 years outside of Nigeria. And my biggest headache for the 20 years I was away is just my nationality. If I traveled to about 30 countries, 30 countries.
30 countries. Okay.
Yes, in the last 20 years. Everywhere I got to, the moment I leave the plane, I'm assaulted with my nationality. They'll step aside. Even Mauritius, small countries like Mauritius, Mexico was the last. Was it Mexico or Greece? That was the last time I visited. They delay you. They just insult you, and you keep asking, "What's wrong? What did I do wrong?" Oh, we're Nigerian. Where do you get the passport? Is that passport original? Have you done something terrible? What are you doing in our country? Are you here to steal? Are you here to defraud somebody? So that's very defeating, and I you could never like get up from that when you are constantly assaulted by everybody in the world because of your nationality. The same thing with the US. In the US, the moment you said, "Oh, I'm a Nigerian," somebody's antenna just go off. Oh my goodness, what is he up to next? And it's because of these bad leaders. It's because of this
Wow.
bad.
All right, I'm going to read some of the questions in the comment box before I ask my final question. And Olawumi Elisame says that she checked Wikipedia and she's also suggested, I think this is a suggestion to you, Mr. Sowore, that you should have somewhere where you wrote your story yourself. Do you have a website?
No, my stories are still unfolding. It's too early to write them. So I don't think I don't have a hand in my Wikipedia page. I think somebody else wrote Wikipedia for me. And I'm not crazy about putting out, a dandy story about my life. I think things are evolving. Probably if I live to do that, I write a book. I think that would be an interesting one. but I haven't written a book yet. When I came out of detention, there was someone working on a documentary with me, but because of COVID, that got suspended. But I'm not even, I've not gotten to the point yet where I feel like I should worry about how I'm presented because things are still evolving.
Awesome. How's the AAC issue? This is a question by or from Wale Mose. I hope I pronounced that right. How is the AAC issue at the moment? Has it been sorted?
ASC, for those who may not know, is the African Action Congress, the political party we registered in 2018. And as soon as before the elections were over, the government tried to hijack the party and they're still trying very hard. But the latest news is that we just had a national executive council meeting about 3 weeks ago, and it was widely reported. So we will we will put the party back on track, and the original owners are the ones in charge as we speak. But we're fighters. They're not going to give up quickly, or is it? We are not going to let them get away with stealing our party as well. So because it's our rights. The ANC shows and the South African political party had been established since the 1920s, but it did not win election until 1994. So just understand that so we won't give up. That person probably understands a lot more about this than most people do, but that's a good thing to know.
Awesome. So the last question is, will you contest if there is 2023? That's from Dr. John Denk Vivian.
I will say that we started contesting the ground now. So by 2023, it will just be easier. But you can't have 2023 without fighting for justice now, without fighting for electoral uh, transparency and fairness. The current Independent National Electoral Commission, as presently proposed, cannot organize a free and fair class captainship election. That's why we keep fighting them. And the political parties and the ruling class don't actually want any elections also in 2023. They already have written the results of the election and they just want you to say uh, yes. So we will not allow that to happen. But just watch out, because I have a feeling 2023, if we get there in one piece, will be easier than 2018 and 2019 for us. Because, as they say in Nigeria, for 7 up, the difference will be clear.
The difference is truly clear.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've come to the end of this interview. Olawumile Somi has a comment for you. Well, Olawumile Somi, I don't think he has a PhD. Do you have a PhD, sir?
No, I don't have a PhD. I assume that's that thing they call doctor is a doctor in philosophy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. But I have people who have the other PhD around me. The federal government, they have what they call PhD, pull him down.
Pull him down.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time. And before we go, I would like to ask you if you have anything else to say.
Nothing. I think I look forward to this, and I'm glad that it Compass the opportunity to do an interview with you. I want to thank you as well. I know you were a big supporter. Now I'm outing you to your viewers uh, during the 2018 and 2019 campaigns. You've always also kept, uh, you've kept in touch with me and in touch with the issues that are affecting us. So thank you for that. And to quickly answer Olawumi, because this Olawumi person kept coming back, I want to know the schools I went to. I attended the second primary school in Ondo State, my hometown. First, I was homeschooled by my dad, who was a teacher, and went to primary school and attended secondary school in my my village, Kiribo in Ondo State. Then I did another 2 years in another secondary school in Okitipupa, paid a full comprehensive price. Before I attended the University of Lagos, where I studied geography and planning, right? And after I did my geography and planning, I then proceeded to the US, where I had a master's degree in public administration at Columbia University in New York. I do not have a PhD, but I taught for about 10 years. I think about 10 years at a college in New York City, the School of Visual Arts. So maybe that's why people think I have a PhD, but I don't have a PhD.
Awesome. Thanks for that clarification. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you for, accepting our invitation to come on the Essay Show. It has been an absolute pleasure to hear you speak. Thank you very much. I see Dr. Chidi. I think that's Dr. Chidi. Yes, from
Dr. Chidi, I see Dr. Chidi. That's my main man right there in Canada.
Yes, it's one of your big advocates, and I watch him all the time as well. So
thank
you for joining. Thank you, Olawumi Ilesomi. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, that person that was critiquing my interviewing skills. Who is that? What's the name again? Oh, he left. Oh, I wanted to say hi. Rigid Pipeline. Please be flexible. Thank you, everyone.
If you have any reason to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook. You can send me in a message.
Yes.
I'm on Twitter as SOWORE, and I'm on Instagram as well.
Awesome, awesome. Allow me, thank you for joining. Dr. Vivian, thank you for joining. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And it's a wrap from me. I would say, as you go on, always be exceptional, be intentional, and be on point. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Good night.